agenda jo. Hvis der. You started it? Okay. Really? Okay, hello internet, and welcome to Dance Talk. So this is a live radio show where we have the conversation about the actual music we hear in the nightclubs, the kind of conversation you never have when you're out because you'd rather chat with your friends about every subject imaginable, pretty much. But why don't we talk about the music the way we talk about our favorite bands and their songs? Maybe the tracks themselves are a bit distant from us since it's playing non-stop for many hours. And we really don't really need to know what the individual tracks are, who produced it, while the amazing artist behind the booth creates the sonic journeys for us to immerse in the night. So this show, Dance Talk, is trying to add that extra flavor to, especially but not limited to, the musical aspect of the scene. I invite DJs and producers to come here and explain why they love a particular track and in what way, and in some way return some of the love that was put into producing the individual tracks and the love that the artist experienced when finding a new sound they just can't resist. So normally I just have one DJ or producer up here, but today I invited not just one but two. These two, Sigurlina and Denna, represent half of the event and artist crew, Sweetie. So today we'll talk about their journey as well as their individual background and serving you some amazing music in the process. My name is DJ Estrella. I use he, him pronouns. I'm a DJ and producer as well as a journalist. And with that being said, welcome to you, Sigurlina and Denna, and to Sweetie. Just a quick context before we begin. I know that you have been hosting both parties but also talks. So with that being said, what is Sweetie?
Hello. Sweetie is a lot of things, I think. And we started Sweetie 3 years ago when it was during Corona and we were kind of wanting things to happen and we wanted to come out and play. And I kind of just started DJing, and so did Frederik back then. And then I was not...
Faveur.
Faveur, yeah. Shout out, Faveur. So, should I just go through how we all started, or what it is, or?
Up to you.
Okay. Well, so there was this place out in Sydhavn called Boxland that doesn't exist anymore, but it was like a big container city where there was like events sometimes and other things going on there. And then I asked if we could do something like an outside party because it was Corona. So I wanted to do something that was like Corona friendly. Yeah. And so we did our first party there, and that was first an outdoor party that was lasting for 8 hours, and then the party continued inside like a warehouse where it went on for like 6 hours. So it was a very long party and a very good debut party, and that's when Sweetie kind of started. And we started out being very focused on house music and uplifting, fun sounds. So this first party was very, yeah. Yeah.
Just picking up on that last thing, I read, so you did an interview with Politiken last year, which gave me a lot of information. And you said there, one of you at least, that Sweetie is a contrast to the tough environment that the electronic music underground often offer. The music is friendlier and more housey. Yes. Can you elaborate on what do you mean by that?
I think that...
And you're welcome to chip in.
Yes. I think we were wanting a space that was more welcoming, not that the club environment is not, but welcome as in like more uplifting and friendly vibes, because we thought it could be very dark and the music could be very like dark and heavy and fast. So we thought we could make like a contrast to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was also very much the trend in the underground electronic scene those years. Yeah, I mean that the trend was very industrial, very dark and hard. And I think after lockdown and COVID, we kind of needed an alternative because people were sick of being alone and depressed, and we needed something to gather people. And I think our like sound profile, kind of not sound profile, but the sound we offer kind of was a good moment for that.
Yes. And did also expand onto we need 3 mics. Did also expand beyond the music, like how you invite into the party, like what are the frame of the party, the circumstances at the party, to sort of combat or to contra that the tough environment. So was it also part of the setup of the parties, or?
Yeah, we wanted to be aware and be very welcoming of everyone. That being said, of course, it was still the intention to have a safer space, but do it in a way that is more also for curious people and people who are not so used to this environment, to welcome them and show them what it can do and what it can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you also said in the same interview I referred to before, you also said that if you reject people in the queue because they're wearing the wrong shirt, then they'll never experience what a gift these parties can turn out to be.
Yes.
Yeah, can you elaborate on that as well?
I also think it's all about vibes and not what you wear. So yeah.
Is there a tendency towards that? Maybe asking. So do you believe that has been more and more true through the years? That if you wear the wrong shirt, then your chance of rejection is getting higher?
Not necessarily in these kind of clubs that we're in very much, but more in the more commercial. Then it's very much how you present yourself and what kind of outfits you wear and all of this.
Yeah, I guess you could say in mainstream clubbing is more appearance, where in underground it's more awareness. I think that's the difference, maybe.
And how did you have you seen any change from the last 3 years when you started to now, just generally speaking on the scene in terms of these subjects?
Do you want to say? I definitely feel a difference. I feel there's more people included now. I think electronic music is getting more into the mainstream commercial, like it did in the 90s maybe. I think we're kind of experiencing the same. I don't want to say if it's negative or positive, that's another discussion, but I feel like there's something happening. More people are getting into electronic music than a couple years ago.
I for one noticed, a couple of years ago I got a car, a really old car from 1998, a blue one, really squarey and nice, and I listened to a lot of mainstream radio on that because I can't really Bluetooth anything, and I listened to a lot of P3, and I've noticed recently that there's a lot more club music for housey stuff with the unts vibe in it as well as being there's more and more like 150 BPM tracks, something that I guess came off of DJ Heartstrings' success. You have many stuff that goes in that hyper techno style that they're actually playing on the mainstream radio, and I think it's so cool. I love it. I fucking love it. So I definitely more approachable, I guess, the scene. Okay, so unfortunately we don't have endless amount of time. What do you want to say?
No, also I wanted to give a shout out to Pernille Krog Mogensen, for example, that's like pushing this music, and it actually got like an hour in P3 to actually showcase the music that we like, which is nice.
So what was the music that you liked in those first Sweetie parties? Housey or friendlier, but what kind of like era, or were there some particular artists that you love to listen to?
I think we were very, very house-minded when we started, very house-minded, so everything was house and like, yeah, electronica. But so what we were playing were just like this super uplifting housey from not even like the 90s house, but like newer stuff actually.
Can you name drop some? Or do you maybe?
Not easier.
Or you brought some that we could listen to.
Yeah.
That's kind of also the point of the show. We're listening to some music.
Yeah.
When was so? This is 3 years ago, right?
Yeah, it was 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so play us some of that stuff that you played in the early Sweetie parties and tell us a bit about it.
Okay. I brought this one track that I played at the first Sweetie event. It's by Den Haas, who is, I think he's from the Netherlands, and he released this, no, it's actually not his release, but it's on a record label called Off Path. I think it's from 2018. And this sound very much represents how like happy and woohoo, like these kind of vibes, all the music which was fun at the moment, but I think today this is not what you would play normally at a club, I think.
Why is that, you think?
I think a lot of people would find it kind of boring, maybe, and not fast enough, because also the pace of the music has evolved so much that today if someone plays 124 at the club, it would just be way too slow, I think, for a lot of people, you including dinner. Yeah.
It's interesting how it took like club music varies so much, like trend-wise in the fastness or slowness, because then you had a whole decade in the 2010s were full of like slow music, and even techno would be like 126 BPM. It's like, oh, this is some really dark shit. And then,
So
but some places they still listen to this techno that is 125, 26.
Yeah, okay.
So I mean, also the crowd has evolved, but there's still a lot of. I don't know if we would call it techno, but it is techno in a way.
It's just interesting how it like keeps like fluctuating between getting really slow and then really fast, and then probably they're gonna be like a slow trend again someday after this fast-paced era. Okay, so the Haas.
Den
Haas.
Den Haas, yeah.
Yeah, let's give it a spin and talk about it afterwards.
So this is 126 BPM. that was Den Haas with Sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, oops, there's
a little echo. Hello.
We got it.
Yeah.
Sun.
Yeah.
You said that you wouldn't play it anymore. I liked it.
Yeah. I could
a lot,
also
I
play
think
this.
It's really groovy.
Yeah. In a little warm-up thing, I could definitely. I think now that I listen to it again, it's nice. Yeah.
And I kind of get the uplifting vibe to it, in contrast to more darker sound. At least I was kind of expecting like a piano or something though. When you said uplifting, like and a voice like going something, hands in the air. It's good sample. It wasn't quite like that. Okay, so now we heard something from the first Sweetie era. Next question is, how did you two meet?
Do you want the official or unofficial story?
We have two ways, but the first way is kind of not relevant.
No.
But it's funny.
It's funny. Sigurline used to date my little brother back in the days. So that's where I met Sigurline first time, which is 2015
that's a long time ago.
Or something. Yeah. And that's the unofficial. Yeah, that's the unofficial. But then we reconnected through the DJ scene.
But it was because we were both playing at this gig. The Culture Box had like a little bar next. I don't know if
the
they
cocktail
have it
bar.
Yeah.
And it was actually the weekend, White Box or something like that. And it was the last weekend before lockdown. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah. And we were like, oh my God, we're booked. Somebody booked us. And then fucking lockdown came. So we reconnected there.
So it was actually because of that night, I think.
Yeah.
And then I think we just, Sophie and Frederik and I, we were just talking about it could be nice to have more involved in Sweetie, so we just asked you.
Yeah, that was in Byhavn. I remember you had a Sweetie party, and then you invited me to play, and then when we were done, you were like, we want to ask you something. And I was like, yes. I'd love to.
That's cute. How did the party go?
Good.
Was it the one in Byhavn or the one in
the first one in Byhavn. That's where you asked me to jump, but I did play one time before with you at not Baby Baby, what was it called after Baby Baby? Imperial Duck, something.
Yeah.
Those time.
That was a party when we booked B from E.
Yeah. That one. Yeah.
So I've never been in a DJ crew, and I always wondered, how does it work? Like, do you hold monthly meetings, biannual meetings with an agenda, and how do you when you say that you feel that it could be nice with more involvement, which is why you also invited Dana in. So how does it work? And how do you start a crew? If anybody out there is like, you want to start a crew?
Just need ideas, I guess.
Yeah. Ideas,
visions. Yeah. And then it kind of works from there, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we do have meetings sometimes where we brainstorm and talk about.
Or someone just comes with for example, the previous one we had with the talk was very much like Frederik's initiative. Yeah. So he kind of just started, and then we just tagged along.
What was the idea behind the talk?
The talk was about, so just a short introduction. We had a talk a couple months ago with a designer and filmmaker, Peter Van Langen, who made this documentary about the underground scene in Tbilisi in Georgia. And a couple years ago, there was a big resistance because the club got raided. And so he made a movie about that and how the underground scene offers so much activism and how much activism is a part of the underground scene. So the movie was about that, and he made a really good talk. And so it can start from a subject, or it can start from a DJ we want to book, or the entry is kind of different.
And so the overall vision of Sweetie, or ambition, or what would you say that is?
Formidling.
Yeah.
Communication. Yeah.
I think that was a lot of all of that how we started with we want to show this, and with the talks, like we want to talk about this and make people like aware of things. And
Yeah. I guess maybe, I don't think it's defining, but maybe it also comes down to that underground scenes, and specifically the electronic underground scene is a bit stigmatized, or can be. So I think maybe also our goal was to make it more inclusive and make it more, I don't know, soften it up maybe. I don't know if that's the right term, but yeah, that's also why when we do parties, our decorations are more colorful and more lighting, and so it can be more welcoming for, as Sigurlín also mentioned before, like newcomers to the scene. So because a dark, maybe industrial warehouse with like hard techno can be maybe a bit intimidating if it's the first time. So maybe it's a good way to get into the environment and with us. I don't know.
Yes.
So do you also have a mission towards the outside world? So now that you said that the scene is stigmatized, it gives me loads of pictures and ideas, like what it means to be stigmatized. So is there also a part of Sweden that wants to send a message to not only the people who come to the parties, but also the one on the outside of that?
Like at a more political level? Sure, definitely.
Why not?
Yeah.
Some people, some people want to have. Some people are more. Some people are more, maybe, I don't know if protective is the right word, but are more shilling or shilled in that, and it's like we don't need you, or it's difficult to speak on behalf of so many people. So, but my point is, like, do you think about that, the engagement with like the outside world? Do you want to state things? I don't know how often you use your Instagram, for example, for branding political ideas and so on. Do you understand what I'm asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if it just happens automatically or if it's something we like put an effort in doing. I can't really.
No.
I think the political part automatically comes with the milieu environment or the scene, or what do you say? Yeah. I don't know. For me, like I can't think of it in a non-political way. But that's a personal, like that's just me. But I
think that's for Sweden in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit political, I would say.
Okay. Yeah. And is it still like that when you host parties nowadays? Now there's no parties in the calendar right now. I know you have some other ideas. When was your last party?
Like party?
Yeah. Like.
No. It's a while ago.
I mean, we had an after party for a talk, but when our last party where we booked other
Someone,
DJs,
I think
it was with Sune. Yeah.
No. Yeah. It was. Was it that one?
That was at
one?
Hangan. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Hangan. What was the question?
The last Swedish party. And you booked Zanzibar there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you played yourself as well.
Yeah.
So I guess Zanzibar is one of the new school progressive sounding, trippy sounding house producers. Also does breaks as well, right?
Very much like electro.
Electro as well.
Yeah.
Is that also where the Swedish sound has gone? Dana, can you maybe answer that question?
Yeah, I think we want to evolve as the scene does and not be stuck on some genre with. We really want to be very, at least for now, we want to be very diverse in our bookings and what we play ourselves. To also showcase a lot of music that maybe someone will find interesting. So I think it's not our goal to just stay on one genre at all. We really want to, push different styles.
Yeah.
We don't like being restricted. Or I don't.
So what do you play nowadays? If you were like on the 126 BPM music, so what would you as an artist play now?
Me? Yeah. I'm definitely on the groove wagon. I like the groovy sounds. I love the drums, the tribal drums, the acoustic drums that are very, very trendy right now. I'm all about it. So that's that's mainly what I'm playing right now.
Okay, we'll get back to that.
Mhm.
Has it always been like that for you as an artist?
Yeah, I would say I grew up in a multicultural home, with both like Iranian culture and the Danish culture. So I'm very influenced by that. I'm very influenced by like world sounds and acoustic instruments in general in electronic music.
And are you one of the people who always listen to club music?
No.
Okay, do you remember your first encounter
Yes.
with like a
I do.
bass line and a kick, and then off
Maybe I didn't
hi-hat.
think in that terms because I was like maybe 6 years old. So, but I remember like my parents listening, like my dad listening to this track, and I remember the music video, looking at the woman who does the vocals, being like so mesmerized. She was so beautiful. I just remember this track very vividly when it came out in '96. Yes.
What is it? I'm curious.
It's a banger. It's Too Unlimited with No Limit. It's super mainstream. Everyone knows it, but it's just like, I remember this. When I heard this, I was like, wow. And I was a little girl, but I can still remember. I was so impressed. And the energy, like, yeah.
What about your first nightclub? Like proper, not the, what's it called? Those that's in the province. Crazy Daisy,
Yeah,
not
so
the Crazy Daisy clubs, but the other
Yeah,
ones.
I grew up in West Denmark, in Jylland, and we had a thing called halballer.
Yeah.
And halbal is technically a big gym hall, a sports hall, with a lot of people like just dancing to very fast music, and it was all ages. I remember like there was like 14-year-olds and there were like 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds. It was bizarre, but it was fucking fun, and that's where that's where I started like listening to club music.
And when did it take off? Like, and being like, okay, I don't only want to listen to it, also want to play it.
I don't know. I always knew I wanted to play be a DJ ever since you could download music MP3s on Kazaa or LimeWire. I knew that I pushed mix CDs to all my friends in Kolding. Like I was the CD mix, what do you call it, mixtape pusher. So I guess I was a DJ before I knew I was a DJ. But I think when I thought that I could actually do it, that was like 2015. I don't know. I had a boyfriend who listened to techno, and then you start hanging out with his friends, and then you go to raves, and that's where it started for me.
What kind of music was it back then? What was the sound like? The stuff that you listened to?
When I
2015-ish. Personally for you?
Slow, shitty tech house, probably. Like nothing I would listen to today at all, but I don't know.
There's some good stuff out there that's slow, that's slow and shitty. Like
No,
if you go
like
to German
it's
festivals, for example, you only hear slow, shitty tech house, but it
It's just-
really fits the mood.
It's just, for me, it's boring. That's the thing.
So,
For me, it's boring. I'm sorry.
so let's listen to a track that you like. There can be anything. What do you feel like showing us?
I want to play some Hellbell music.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm totally up for that. I also grew up in Jylland with halvbals
What city?
in near Skørping.
Sounds small.
Yeah, it's really small. Also, I said near Skørping, and Skørping is probably 2,000 people, so that's like a really small place. I remember Lasco especially. We also talked about that before we started.
I think they're from my hometown, actually.
Huh?
Maybe Lasco.
I think they're not Danish.
Oh no.
I'm
Okay, maybe
not
I'm
sure
mixing
though,
it with
but that'd be super cool.
Maybe I'm mixing it up with Hampenberg or something.
Yeah, Hamburg, I think those are Danish. Those are with the dog sound, right? Like me.
But actually, the track I'm gonna play is from a Kolding, where I'm from. They're from Myanmar. It was a pop duo.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna play one of their tracks, which is a remix by DJ Alligator.
Alrighty.
And I remember I loved this because I'm Iranian as well, and I was like, whoa, there's an Iranian DJ in Denmark. Crazy. This was back in 2000, whatever, 1 or something. So.
Keep you where you want to go. Open up and let me free your soul. Just let your body lose control. Keep your spirit high and let it flow. I'll take you where you want to go. Open up and let me free your soul. Just let your body lose control.
This is the DJ Alligator Remix.
Keep your spirit high and let it flow. I'll take you where you want to go.
Alligator.
Open up and let me free your soul. Just let your body lose control. Keep your spirit high and let it flow. I'll take you where you want to go.
Alligator.
Open up and let me free your soul. Just let your body lose control. Keep your spirit high and let it flow. I'll take you where you want to go. Open up and let me free your soul. Just let your body lose control. Keep your spirit high and let it flow. I'll take you where you want to go. Open up and let me free your soul. Just let your body lose control. Just remember, always fly. Open up and let me free your soul. Just let your body lose control.
Whoa, what a track. Holy moly. That was sick. Whoa. Good times. Yeah, okay. And Danish Iranian actually. So it's both me and mine, and then DJ Alligator, who's half Iranian. Or
We had good producers.
yeah, we had yeah.
We did have some good producers in that
Yes.
Eurodance genre in Denmark.
Can I hold one? Just talk a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did, and I just we talked about just when the music was playing. There was actually a show on DR 2 years ago called Vild med Dance, which is about this type of this era actually. So go
Definitely
watch it
check
if
it
you're interested. I think it's like 15 minutes per episode, so it's really easy to watch.
Nice.
Did you ever play it out?
Not this one actually, but I just got it today. But I will definitely drop it at some point for sure. I love it.
That was a banger. Also, maybe fits your tempo nowadays. So what, 142?
Yeah, minimum. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you play nowadays? Now we heard that you started with your, especially in 2015 here, going out some techno. What do you listen to nowadays?
Nowadays,
What are you looking for in a track as well?
Mostly the groove. I mean, if I can, it sounds weird, but I like to shake my ass to that music. But I know you can't shake your ass to electronic music or techno, but with the groovy sounds, you kind of can. And I love that. Originally I'm a hip hop girl. Like I grew up with hip hop, R&B, so for me it's a vibe. If there's a good sample, vocals, drums, like anything, I'm down for it. I don't know. I listen to a lot of stuff.
Where do you what's your go-to source for looking for new stuff? Not new as newly produced, but just tracks you didn't know.
I honestly use Spotify a lot to dig tracks. Yeah, to find tracks. Their algorithm kind of works well when you do playlists, and you go to the bottom, new recommendations. That's the source for me. SoundCloud. I don't know. I don't have a specific method. Spotify, I would say, actually.
I think that I never heard a DJ say Spotify.
I know.
Before, but also
so radical.
I also got off Spotify in 2016 or something, and then started using YouTube only because back then. Now it's also like 7-8 years ago, so probably they also updated the index library since then.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's
I
interesting.
never use YouTube. I'm not a YouTube girl. I know it's so weird.
So good.
I hate YouTube.
So
stressful.
I love it.
But also Bandcamp for sure. I just remembered now.
Yeah, for
also
new music,
yeah.
of new releases.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I never got into the Bandcamp stuff, but also only listened to old stuff. So maybe that's why. Anyway, okay. So time is running. Sigrid, I also want to ask you. So now, Dana told us that in 2015 she began to dig the club scene here. Where did yours start?
I'm some years younger than Dana. I'm 27, but I think all my music kind of started when I was around 14 and 15 with the club music, and I was listening to a lot of this kind of house and a lot from Sweden with the Studio Bamhus, and there was a lot of things going on in Sweden at the moment, I think. And just like the lo-fi house, all of the, all of this. I loved it so much when I was younger.
Lo-fi house to chill to or to study to or something.
Study music. Yeah, but at that time it was not study music, it was the shit, But so at that time I was too young to go out at the clubs and listen to it. But then when I kind of like got older, I tried to sneak into clubs and I listened to. Sometimes it worked, and I saw a lot of DJs like at Culture Box and other places, and I thought it was amazing. And one girl, Ina Kosovic, she was like really my queen at the moment. She was everything. I was so inspired by her, and I was so invested in everything she did at the moment.
Do you remember what the environment was like back then? What was your impression of how it was to go out at, for example, Culture Box back then?
I thought it was really, really scary. But because I was 17 or 18, so I thought it was scary. But I also thought it was really fun. But at that time, I didn't consume anything. I was just there, and I thought it was amazing. I was just listening to the music and tried to like fangirl so much. It was embarrassing sometimes. And I remember. It doesn't matter. But it was scary, but it was really fun and kind of lonely in a way, but lonely in like an exciting way, I think.
And what made it is particularly exciting?
Just the music, and the whole like zone with like, I thought it was so intense that people are just standing and looking at like one direction and not like interacting with each other. And this whole culture I really had to get used to, but I got used to it really quick. And then like ever since I haven't been able to really party other ways, which is not a good thing, I think, for me.
Yeah, I know the feeling. You walk into a normal club, and you're
Yeah,
like,
like nah.
what is this?
Yeah.
Okay, and when did you go out elsewhere back then? I don't know what year we're talking here, so I don't know what was available. But can you just tell us a bit about what you remember from back then? Places that you went, places that catered to this kind of audience and music.
Yeah, it was very much KB18, which doesn't exist anymore. But I grew up in Copenhagen, so I got to go to these places when they were there. So yeah, KB18 and Culture Box. And then also I liked a lot of at the moment I liked a lot of melodic techno back then. I was really, it was perfect. So I went to these IG60 parties and stuff like this. It was, yeah.
I never been to the IG60 parties. I saw that they kind of did a revival, or not really after the lockdowns. Yeah, that's melodic techno parties for sure. Yeah.
But they had like a place in Kødbyen, like a basement, that I went to the first party there, and I was like, oh my god, this is Berlin, but but it's not.
So so you had Ina Kosovic, who was your queen, you idealized her.
Yeah.
So when did you start to think, okay, maybe I should be behind the booth?
That was a long time after, because I thought actually that I was not going to be a DJ. I thought I was going to produce, and I started producing, and then I realized I was shit at it, and I didn't have any patience for it. So yeah, then I DJ instead. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about the music that you wanted to play when you figured out that producing was not your path.
When I started,
it
was. I think I was still caught up with this whole 2010s house in a way, because I'd been consuming it so much, and so I was listening to a lot of La Fleur from Sweden, also a lot of Swedish people, and also Regelbau from Aarhus. That I never really had the records, but I looked at YouTube and listened to it on YouTube, and I really liked that sound. It was very chill also. So in the beginning everything was very chill, but now I also play drum and bass, so now it's not so chill anymore. Yeah.
And do you have any of those tracks from that early DJ Sigeline career?
Yes, I have some tracks from back then, but I also have another track from Aarhus.
That was all okay. Fair enough.
But I don't know, because the track that I'm really wanting to play is from last year, so I don't know if it counts.
It counts, and I really want to hear it, because when we also played together, the two of us, 2 times, and I heard you play a bunch of times, and I heard you play like everything, basically, all sorts of music from like obviously house, progressive house, techno, breaks, drum and bass, so garage, UK garage, beat garage, everything.
Yeah.
So to hear some of your early inspirations would be really nice. But like, yeah, what do you feel like?
But I feel like the early inspiration is very much like the first track we listened to.
Okay.
Because it's very much this kind of like house.
So what do you feel like playing?
The record I brought.
Let's do it.
Okay.
It's a Aarhus record.
Yes.
Aarhus represent.
So this one is from Natal Central, and he's also been a huge inspiration for me, both like producer wise and DJ wise. And he released 2 LPs last year, and one of them I brought, and it's one track that I keep playing every time I'm out, and it's allowed to play house music. I play this, and it needs to so yeah, it's on his sister label called Help, which is a label for Regelbau, which I think most people maybe know. and it's called Molder.
Go for it. Nu er vi på igen.
Ja.
Okay. Natal Sax.
Natal Sax, Central. He's also playing tonight at Jolene, actually. So
Are you gonna
Shout out.
watch it?
I
Listen to it?
I hope so. Yes.
Really nice track, like really sweet track in a way.
Yeah.
More, especially in the direction of what we talked about earlier on with the more friendlier
Yeah.
sound to house music. I also remember the Dick Mansell set that he played. I watched that like 100 million times. And it was a boiler room set. He played just an hour. I think it was maybe 2018, 17, 16, maybe something like that. And the only description they have in the YouTube video is just 100% Aarhus.
Yeah.
And I love
Yeah,
that because
yeah.
it's so cool just to bring all your friends' music and you're like
Yeah.
on the international stage and just
Yeah.
like, oh, listen to this and my friend did this and my friend did that.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
such
that's really
a
cute.
vibe. I love it so much.
It's really cute. So, but would you find that in a sweetie party nowadays?
Aarhus music,
Yeah.
definitely.
And would you also
still
find
play
a LOL house here as a...
Yeah, if Dinner played it.
What is it about this?
LOL House.
Yeah,
It's just
explain
for,
that.
for me.
at least.
Yeah, for me, LOL House is not very friendly necessarily. It's more like with a lot of like vocal chops and so it's like pop house or techno where it's like mixed. Yeah, I don't know. This.
No, I just want to see if I have a no bullshit house playlist. I was just looking for that. I guess the same, like as LOL House. So it's just it's not too serious. It's just more. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so hard to explain sounds, right, with words. It's just
Is it also a vision for future sweetie parties not to have too tough of a sound, or what?
Too tough. Yeah. We do, I think the last thing we would ever book personally would be like a trance or like hardcore techno DJ.
Yeah.
I think we're very like open to a lot of things, but I think this is one thing that we're probably not.
Yeah, because I feel like house music what started Sweetie. So I guess genres that can tap into house, which can also be trance. It's not like that we don't play trance, but it's just the feeling, I guess.
Yeah.
It's what we
More words into that, like this feeling.
joy and happiness and togetherness and not so much I'm just standing here in my own space dancing and contemplating about life.
Yeah.
It's more of like we dance together kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that kind of very much represents what we have booked so far.
Yeah, I think so too.
With like Mara, for example, which has been very fun. Very fun, but it's like this kind of new wave of trance music, but very uplifting and fun.
Yeah.
And groovy.
Exactly.
Melodic.
Yeah.
I mean, I can for sure recognize it. I don't think you have to be a regular at the clubs to just feel that there's a difference in the vibe. You know, when you speak about the joy in the music, I think that translates to everybody. Maybe there are some borderline tracks where it's like maybe it's a little bit dark, but it's also super groovy and silly or playful and the like. So I get what you mean, and I think people out there are also hopeful. So that's a good word. So is there what's the vision for or the hope for Sweetie from now on? Do you have what's your the overall vision of where you want to take your project?
Personally, I really like the talks a lot. I like to have these conversations, and I like to. Why? Because I think for a lot of people who are already partying, I think it's very important for everyone to be aware of everything, all of the surroundings, and why things are the way they are. So talks for me, and more personally, I would like to do more locations that are not the clubs, just to try out things.
Yeah, and possibly also maybe collab.
Yeah.
collaborating with other promoters, crews, collectives, whatever. Just I like the idea of working with other people. The ideas are always cooler.
Yes.
So that would be fun as well.
Yes.
Have you talked about branching out from parties and talks to something else, like exhibitions or other kinds of events?
I have had a lot of thoughts about doing more sound experience events when, like, for example, a church or something.
What's about the church room that's interesting?
I think that it would be interesting to have something there because obviously there's no alcohol, there's no substance or anything, and then it would be just a lot of people sitting in church and just let the sound just take over their bodies in a way, and I think that would be really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just alternative venues is
Yeah.
definitely something I think all of us are interested in, especially in Copenhagen, because it's so limited.
Yeah.
So that would be nice. Maybe a festival
Yes.
also. Be fun to make a festival, a mini DIY something festival.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be fun.
In Jylland.
In Jylland,
In
yeah.
Kolding.
Why not?
Slice time.
I'll find a gym hall somewhere.
Make a new hellbell. Actually, I know that Rebild Kommune is wants to collaborate. I spoke with them some years ago on making a festival.
Wow.
And they were like, yeah, sure. So we'll activate our whole local business community, and we'll deliver you fences and like locally grown food and stuff. I think they were really weird. They really wanted to have like some stuff there. So I think there's a lot of kommuner out there who would be interested if you approach them. I didn't write like a super complicated lineup, but yeah.
Yeah, I think the difficult part is to get people out there because I think a lot of the people who would be interesting are from Copenhagen.
Yeah.
So I think the hardest part would be getting people, to Jylland.
Actually, regarding that, like I was at Strøm Festival,
Yeah.
like in Vandløse.
It was still Copenhagen.
It's but I was saying like after the second act, everybody was gone. Like there was no people, and I was like, we're only in Vandløse, like 6 metro stops from inner city, and people are like still with like either not coming or going early. It was so bizarre.
Yeah.
So, because it was a killer lineup. Big up to
Bitter
Strøm.
Babe, she was
Big
closing
up to
and no one
Strøm.
was there.
We were 10 people on the
Yeah.
floor. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, I broke my heart. But I'm Insta friends with Bitter Babe now, so if you talk with her afterwards, so yeah.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for coming. Like, I know that we discussed before what would the last track be, but it turns out that you don't get to make that decision because it's over.
So we don't have time?
No.
No.
But Sigalina and Dena and Sweetie, thank you so much for coming and sharing your stories and some music with us. And I hope you all enjoyed it out there and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Thank you.